like discussing the strategy and everything. But I guess since you're here, let's start with the SDGs, and then if we have time, we can go through the other issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Your general feeling of everything.
so sorry.
How was your general feeling of everything?
Honestly, I can't say I have been really like fully engaged.
Mm-hmm.
But I attended the one event which was hosted by the Global Education First Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Education First
Yeah.
campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So they were they invited champion countries, which Ethiopia was one, who achieved the Millennium Development Goals, like who did well, not achieved, who did well. When it comes to the MDGs, the education part of the MDGs.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think we are more focusing on receiving quality and linking it to like making full and potential and responsible citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like, how we were talking the last conversation about like global citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
So using education to foster global citizenship. Those are the conversation that was really interesting, and where Norway, China were like part of the discussion, and Ethiopia was also part of the discussion. Yeah, so like the leave no one behind, making sure also a World at School was involved. So a World at School global ambassadors took the stage and like passed the 10 million signatures. Like they also talked about that, how young people around the world are demanding for education first, basically, like education to be the priorities of the coming agendas, because basically we can't achieve anything without like an educated society. So that was like basically the discussion, and focusing more on the quality this time, not only like enrollment rates and these variables that we are using to determine. We have to more like emphasize on the quality and what actually that education is making the citizens do and participate in the development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
And so for the action points, like did they talk about, because the hangout that Nina did last time, they're talking about like including SDGs in the curriculum, for example. Are they talking about certain actions that they're gonna lobby for or take?
Uh, the action point that the main emphasis was on the quality. That's my intake. But I can't, I can't say, because this is only one part of the side events kind of thing that was happening. So I can't say what was the end of. I haven't received any document on the final conclusions. So I think I should do more research right before talking about it, on like what are the action points of the discussions. But the event that I attended was more focusing on quality and global citizenship.
Okay. Yeah, I read what the last outcome was, and it's it's focusing on goals, but it's not saying how you're gonna do it. So, for example, they're focusing on early childhood development, pre-primary education, technical vocational and education, vocational skills for employment, focusing on children with disabilities, upgrading facilities in education. As you said, focusing more on quality and things like that. So it's more of the thing I think they said, which is concrete, is scholarships. So they're trying to increase the number of scholarships available for students in developing countries, and also training teachers to be more qualified. But these are the two I can see oriented, but the other ones are very, vision oriented. So, Yeah.
You mean like they're not specific? You're talking about the
Yeah, they're
specificity.
just vision oriented. They're like, we want to achieve this, but how do you want to go about it?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Okay.
So probably, yeah, more documents will come in the next few weeks.
Yes, I've been trying to read things, but I couldn't. Especially on the education part. But so they already launched it, and I don't know the process. Do you know like how countries are adopting it? Like, do they have to sign for it? Is it like I'm not clear about that part of the process.
I think now
How are you going to make countries accountable, basically?
Yeah.
Like,
from the recent discussions, it seems that the civil society is leading the way, and they're like the UN agencies are partnering with different civil societies that are, just like Global Education First and Word at School, which is also part of the UN. So these kind of small bodies and civil society groups that are emerging from the UN, and of course the UNFPA and all of these bodies. But yeah, but now I don't think there is a clear, for example, the lobbying for it to become a curriculum, to be, including in the curriculum, to be studying the SDGs. It's something that is lobbying with the government. So it's not like the government really signed to adopt the SDGs and work on them. But that's my question, is like, concretely, what's the action that you are committed to take?
yes.
So it's a commitment to the goals, but there is no concrete action that you are committed to take. For example, to say, I will include, starting from 2016, this and this in my education system.
Yeah.
So there is nothing like that, as far as I know.
Yeah, my other concern is the budget, like how, like money, because one of the things that they were discussing was the kind of percentile money, like, or like how should I put it? The percentage of GDP that the countries are spending on education is like getting lesser and lesser, while it should be like more. So I haven't seen anything that makes governments accountable, like on how many percent of their national income they are allocating for education and things like that. That's one of my
Exactly.
concerns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so for the Committee on Education, what do you think we can do to support the goal number 4, but also to to make that goal accountable itself, because, for example, I'm a bit frustrated when I saw like the package of the SDGs that came out, and the different, for example, pictures, and how they are picturing, for example, education, let's say. Even it's not only to promote the SDGs as they are, but also our way of promoting it, because the pictures I've seen are promoting is the same result and product of image of like Africa being, the poorer, and then all of that. So it's the extension of Action 2015, where all the images you see are these poor kids, yearning for education and things like that. And the discussion is still not on equal footing. It's like, it's still developed countries helping developing countries.
Yes.
So for me, it's like both. We need to promote the SDGs, but we need to think about our own way that also hold the SDGs accountable, and not fall into the mainstream picture of developing NGOs putting, Africa as the worst place that needs to be saved. And so far, what I've been seeing, pictures and promotions, and I'm a big critical of Action 2015 anyway, but it seems that it's an extension of that, and the imagery and the language is focused on that. So you see pictures from some Asian countries, some African countries, some Latin American countries, and the poor kids who needs education.
Yeah.
So So yeah, so this is just a reflection. So I don't know what could the Committee on Education do, because we need to be part of this discussion. We can't, even if we, you know, like critical about things about it, we need to be part of it. So because this will happen with us or without us,
Yes.
though they say young people should be included, but it will happen. So we need to be part of the discussion and, you know, try to promote it, but also didn't probably shape it the way we want it for African countries.
Yes.
At least.
Okay. Yeah. So like I think we can promote and highlight the works that have been doing young people are doing in the continent, like focusing on education.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been seeing like some of the I was going to say fellows, but that's like I should use that word for my lead. Some of our like members and the core movement committees are attending global conferences, and they should like make sure that they are taking the voices of like the positive things also, not only like, oh yeah, we don't have this kind of 10 million kids in Nigeria are not in school kind of thing. But yes, but we also have like young people who are doing this and that, and because of this we have achieved this. Like not only achievements are not necessarily because of the civil society or the UN, also like individual African young people who are like taking the lead on their own communities and things like that. So I think we should include that in our strategy, like promoting more like focusing on promoting the good works that we are doing, which we have, but we should focus on that.
Yeah. So in terms of how do you think we should kind of start, because looking at the strategy, I don't know if you got my link of the strategy. So it's basically connect, empower, mobilize, and
Yes.
I guess in connect we can kind of map like different initiatives, and probably start like conversations at the national level of how do you want the the goal number 4 to be implemented in your country? How do you see quality education? How do you see this and that? So it's more, making people aware that these are the SDGs, but also how do you see it implemented in your own context, and try to push for SDGs to be very context oriented rather than all countries the same.
Yeah. Okay.
So in terms of how do you think we're so good or lobbying the government, or how do we go about this? Delegation of global conference, that's a key one as well that we can
Connecting conferences, and we can also like not only delegating, we can also like create our own
event
design. What's the word for it? Like not design, not create. English. But like we can come up with our own conferences, or we can create and we can connect the young people who are working around the continent, maybe like on sub-regions, and create the connection.
Okay. So like creating networking groups on a sub-regional event.
Yes, sub-regional levels. And if like we should be able to raise funds so that we can conduct workshops or trainings.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Looks like Aminata tried to join us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, she
Came in
left.
and
I don't
out.
know.
Let's see.
I can see on the the chat part. Yeah, she tried to join.
Mm, okay, okay. In terms of what's going on there? Are you
It's
arrested?
DC.
Don't get arrested now.
No, it's DC. Like you should expect this every 3 minutes.
Yeah. I was also thinking, well, this has to do with strategy in general, but let's now focus on the SDGs. These kind of workshops, if we're gonna organize something, the theme should be about raising awareness about SDGs or discussing them, or like what's the content of these workshops would be.
It could be about the SDGs. Of course, that's at the end of the day, that's what we want to achieve, right? Like we want to, I mean, quote unquote, it's something that everyone agrees on, or all the governments around the world agrees on. But our priorities are different, right? I think we should create our priorities and we should focus on the we should create Africa focused or Africa based solutions to, like, in order to achieve those. So like, what can we do as individuals, and as individual youth leaders, what can we do as a connected youth leaders, and things like that. So SDGs, but to our context, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I guess another important event will take place in the UNESCO Forum, 9th Forum.
Sorry, I missed that.
I guess another key event will take place this week, actually, the UNESCO, the 9th Forum of the UNESCO.
Where is it going to be?
In France.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah, they focus more on sustainable planet, but still, you know, UNESCO has a part focusing on education. Yeah, I guess going back to the main goals of this committee, I guess there needs to be some work on mapping, not only like individuals and young people that we can work with, but also like stakeholders or potential partners, including the UN, and how we can work with them and also shape their work in our different countries. Because I always say in different committees that we're not, like, we're a movement. We don't implement projects on the ground, but we support and we help shape things in our. So I guess the focus should be more on how to shape that agenda according to our own context, and how to influence the UN agencies, not to fall into the same last 15 years, the same model of development and of conversation, you know. So the how is the hardest part, how to do that.
Yes, the how is the hardest.
Yes.
We are like
starting.
Sorry?
Yes, Elam, go ahead.
No, I mean, like, the how is the hardest part, but like, I believe that they are like, we're group of brilliant, or like, you know, young people, so we should all be able to do that, you know, like the how part. But at the same time, as you said, we just can't do this by ourselves. If we include stakeholders, and it would be easier for us to come up with the solutions.
Okay.
So in which part are we right now? Like the connect part or the import
part? In the with the connect part. So what I'm saying is that in order to start the work, I think the first step would be to map these stakeholders, map the key UN agents that are working in Africa, map the young people who are key in their communities and national level, and then so the first is the mapping, which leads to connecting, so connecting initiatives and yeah, and the empowering part, I guess the one you mentioned about the workshops and the different things. Now my only concern is that how like how we can do things differently. Like if we look at the past 15 years and the kind of, okay, there has been success and improvement, but there has been failure as well. And I guess what I notice about the priests is that they focus a lot on like consultation, like connect young people to open conversation or to raise awareness about the MDGs. But by the end of the 15 years, people still don't know what the MDGs are and act on that. So I don't know. I feel there is a gap between like the actions of the UN and the defined goals. And also, and I think we need not to fall into the same trap, because they spend more money on consultation than money on actually implementing and providing money for education. So yeah, so when I think of like workshops and things like that, I all the time bear in mind that what's the sustainability of it, what's the outcome of it, what's we don't want to fall in the same model that the UN created for the past 15 years and tried to do things differently, but also not replicate any efforts, but just collaborate to move in the same direction. And I guess we can, as a continental like movement, we can play a role in that, to map and also to connect those efforts and not lose time and resources in duplicating the same thing.
So like on the you are saying we should create awareness more on the continental level. Is that's basically, is that your suggestion? Am I getting it right?
So what I'm saying basically is to not play a role in in doing the same what the UN is doing, which is already consultations and like raising awareness about the SDGs and all of that, but more to map those efforts and link them, so rather people would not replicate the same thing over and over and lose the 15 years for just raising awareness about the SDGs, as what happened in the last 15 years. And then after 15 years, many young people don't even know about MDGs. So from MDGs to SDGs, I think, I don't know if has been any document to see what kind of, like the ups and downs that happen and how we can avoid that. But I think this is one of the things that we don't need to fall. Like we can organize a big event where we can gather key stakeholders and young people and all of that. But going to that process to bring really the right people in the right place, I guess we have a work to do on mapping and connecting those initiatives and those efforts already taking place in raising awareness about SDGs and like raising awareness about quality education, lobbying their governments, and all of these. So I'm trying here to find out our role, like our key role in playing without with doing the things in the same way, without keeping this circle of doing all of us doing the same thing, but rather see what's going on and try to find our role in that, if I make sense.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I didn't move to the how, but I'm just discussing like the vision of what are we gonna do and why it's relevant to what's already existing.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, Shoki was like trying to connect with us. Then I guess he also left. Can you see the chats?
Yeah, I don't know if the connection is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Connection is a problem, or not sure. Okay,
Okay.
so
Back to the.
I mean, yeah, I guess probably we need a bit more of. Yeah, I mean, the discussion on SDGs needs a bigger group. So if you want, we can. Okay, what is the paper I was looking at? Yeah, we can move on because I know that you might not be able to attend all the meetings. So at least while you're here, I can take advantage of that.
No, but it's okay. Like if we know what we're doing, I guess I mean if we know what we should be doing, we can send the documents and everyone can have a contribution. You know, it's like it's an era of technology. We can work like from distance. So it's okay. Like I can put my inputs on the documents.
Yeah. And since this is recorded so they can watch it later, it's probably a good opportunity to explain things and what is expected because like now we have 5 committees and all committees are working on the strategy plan. Like no committee is really doing in action. Well, except for the Peace and Security Committee, they did the campaign, the Internship Committee, they do things here and there, and the Education Committee did the hangout as well. But I mean, the focus of these 2 months is really the strategic plan because, and now everybody's expected to submit the final draft after discussion on November 15th.
Oh, wow.
Because in December, we will have internal elections of the co-chairs of each committee. So, which will go, everybody's aware of that, but I just want to mention again, which it will go by nomination and then votes of all members. Then the chairs will appoint the existing members or new members if they're missing positions. And then the new committee will have the mandates from January 2016 to August 2017. And so this strategic plan we're working on right now is the mandate for the upcoming committee, which will be officially the same people working on it, but in a more like a mandate term. So the document, which I sent the link now for it on the Education Committee, which was, like it's been some changes on it and everything, but I still think it's missing what's the vision and mission of this committee, what do we want to achieve by 2017 so that we can monitor and measure the success by 2017. And then we need to design, the goals. Okay, we probably have a lot of goals that we can achieve, but the how, which you said it's the hardest part, like the activities have to answer the question,
yes,
how we're going to achieve these goals we designed. And for the activities, we shall also bear in mind that it's a movement on a regional and a continental and diaspora level. So the activities should focus more on, campaigns, advocacy, rather than project implementation. And as you said, like a space to bring people together as well. But also these campaigns can mobilize people at the national and grassroots level. So it doesn't mean that we're disconnected. And also, I think we need also a bit of research, as I said, on what's happening and who are the people we can collaborate with, and what are they already doing, so that we know what our role could be as, a committee on education, So yeah, I just wanted to say that from here to December, it's really a focus on making the strategy the foundation, but it should be really like a clear foundation that once in January, everybody knows, what's the bigger picture, what's our specific priorities and goals, and how are we going to achieve that. So I guess it's good to take the time to really put efforts in the strategy, so then, and even it should include, roles and responsibility in all of these details, which I think you discussed a bit in the last meeting. But yeah, I just want to stress that this strategy is the mandate for the next year and a half. So it should be detailed and comprehensive, everything. And SDGs, yeah, if you decide as a committee to take it as one of the goals, so then yes, it should be one of them. So then how we go about it. Yeah, so that's just because I watched the last meeting and I felt the bigger picture is missing, while there was a discussion on details, which is good. Like there was discussion on the monthly report, on organizing podcast, on producing a newsletter, you know, like these things which are concrete, but the bigger picture, and there were some people asking about it, I think, in the meeting, that what's the bigger picture? Where are we heading with this? So we don't lose the final goal. Yeah, so that's the first part, which is my feedback on the last committee meeting and strategy. So I think probably because I saw the Google Doc, and I think not like since the translation of Aminata from French to English, there has been no changes.
Okay.
So I think it would be good if everybody, if someone will lead this process. I don't know if Nina or you, and just put some, maybe 2 deadlines, one as a first draft, second as a final draft, and then have everybody's input, and then someone who is good at writing in the group can put everything together.
Okay.
Which Aminata is good. I mean, you can map like the skills of everybody and who can good at writing, who can good in strategy, and then just make sure like have the first deadline where everybody puts their input. Well, how do they see the vision? What are the main goals, and what are the activities that respond to these, to achieve these goals? And then the roles, especially the roles and responsibility of every and each member, so that everybody knows what are their expectations, you know, as well. I mean, we should also put expectations if we can. I know that this is a voluntary work, and if we can put incentives of people, for example, if we can put 3 major conferences that are taking place, and we think as a committee we can influence, then we know that, okay, you as the diaspora representative, we want you to be at this event in Canada or in the States or this or that. You as, you know, East Africa region representative, we want you to go to Ethiopia to influence this process. So I guess we should also put those kind of expectations and what are like the members' experience from this, being in this committee as well. Aside from working to achieve a goal that we all want and a good cause and everything, but also I think focus on the personal development from this. And there are 2 things as IYM, not as a committee on education, that we're thinking about. First is a meeting, like physical meeting in December of next year, not this year.
Okay.
In Tunisia, hopefully. but it's basically, I mean, we've been thinking about this a lot, and it's basically a meeting where everybody can meet everybody, which I think face-to-face meeting is important. And also it's easier to strategize. But also I guess in December, which would be the middle of, you know, the work. So you've been, for example, working from January to November, I mean December or November, and then evaluate, okay, what have we done, where are we gonna go? And also, yeah, have like a first meeting with all LAM members. So it would be like a kind of a gathering. So I have an NGO in Tunisia that can host the event, but also I'm talking to different committees to see what kind of contribution that how do you see this kind of, I don't know, we can call it summit or conference or whatever it is, but what kind of contribution that members can do, you know, who is good in what, if you know how to mobilize resources, or if you can bring partners on board, or, you know, so we're still in this discussion that this meeting is essential and it should happen. So now we're moving towards like how can we make it happen. That's one. And second is for each committee to the members to learn and have, and that's why, for example, we did the training on leadership, which is relevant to some people, not relevant to others. So how can other people also so we should put all these expectations, like your personal growth, what kind of trainings you want to take while having your position in this committee. Yeah, so these are two things that AYM can do for the committee.
Okay.
So
I'll put my inputs based on this.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I could, but I can't lead this. So I am really hoping someone can lead this, but I'm willing to, I mean, not willing, I'll be glad to put my inputs and work on the papers.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope someone can, either Nina or Aminata can do the arrangement. Then, as you said, if we can go through this and do, what's the deadline again? November 15th, right?
Yeah, November 15th.
Yes, so we have 3 weeks. So we can submit this first draft. My suggestion would be like if we can submit it on the 4th, then the second draft we can do it on the 10th. Then by 15th we can.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, so that's in terms of the strategy. And then in terms of the meeting, would you have any suggestions or any feedback?
In terms of the meeting, like this meeting or generally?
No, like the physical meeting.
Oh, the physical meeting. I know there are some organizations and like there are some links. I've been saving some links that I can share with the group on like how we individually can look for opportunities so that we can make this happen. There are two things, I guess. Like one is we need a committee to facilitate the program, like to facilitate. We need what we're going to do there, like how when is a good time, like all these things to facilitate these things between members and creating a convenient time for basically everyone and things like that. Second is like we need another group who can raise funds and make sure that we are going to have like the financial support for this program that we need. So I think we should be able to, because I see the group as a really strong group. So I think we should be able to raise funds if we start working early. It's like we're end of October. So I'm assuming we're doing it end of December because we are going to be in classes, and so basically we can have like 2 months, and if we can start working on that really early, we should be able to raise some funds.
So I mean December, not this December, the next year of December.
Oh, definitely then.
Yeah, we have like a whole year. But,
okay.
A year is
2016 then.
Yeah, 2016.
Yes.
So it's between November and December, but I mean, as you said, we should see everybody's availability.
Yes. So have we established how are the other groups doing this? Like, are we doing it together as AYM generally?
Yeah. So so basically we have around 3 people now in the let's say summit committee that's brainstorming around it.
Okay.
And we're doing as AYM, but also in consultation with all committees. So everybody should be updated, and then everybody can contribute, like to how to go about it, or how to mobilize funds, or if members can make contributions, or if they can, fundraise, or if we can provide sponsorship letters, like different ways to do it, but all members should be updated about it as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, what else did we do?
So I guess in terms of this physical meeting, I'll send.
Sorry, Shoki, can you hear us? Can you type if you can hear us, or like, okay, go ahead. I'll type for him.
Okay. Yeah, just the next action point on this physical meeting, I would just send an email to see everybody's feedback and move from there.
Okay. Okay, thank you for facilitating this.
So is he with us?
No.
No?
No, I mean, he's with us. I can see him, but I can't hear him.
Okay.
Africa.
I guess.
Do we have a technology committee? We need a technology committee.
You think so, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean.
Yeah, we need a tech support team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, Hangout is good because it's recorded, but I think it's not the best network for many countries. Like, people function better, I guess, the network on Skype.
Oh, okay.
And Hangout, but I don't know why. Okay, next is, yeah, I guess that's it. It's just that couple of questions I asked on the email regarding the last meeting, but I think you were not able to attend.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I just send those again by email. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you, Aya.
Thank you so much, Salam.
My pleasure. I'm hoping we will meet so often. Like, we really need to organize the meetings.
Yeah.
I know I function like that. I really function like, if you give me deadlines and like, let's meet this. So I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Work that as a group. Okay. Thank you, Aya.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your weekends.
You too.
Bye.